So now I'm going to move into our final speaker. Emily, I hand it over to you if you're ready.
Great. Perfect. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Emily Dorne, and I'm really excited to be talking today about no-code custom AI for camera trap species classification. And more specifically, I'm going to be sharing about current and upcoming Zombie Cloud functionality. So I guess, drew the lucky straw and got 15 minutes. So I get to cover a little bit more today. So this is the lay of the land. I'm going to start off and tell you a little bit more about driven data and our conservation work. And then I'm going to share about our ongoing WildLabs project that's focused on custom image models. And lastly, I'm going to tell you how you can get involved. So here's your TLDR on each of those in case you get distracted by the chat or have to hop off early. So our conservation work is focused on Zombie Cloud, which is an application that lets you run and train species classification models on camera trap data without writing any code. And the exciting news here is that image functionality is coming to Zombie Cloud, thanks in large part to support from the 2024 WildLabs Awards. And the way that you can get involved is if you are a camera trap user, you can greatly help us out by filling out a short survey that is at tinyurl.com/zombasurvey. And we're hoping to learn more about the main species and habitats in which you're using camera traps. And you can also offer to be a beta tester if you would like to help test out some of the custom image model training workflows. So let's get into a little bit more detail. So what is Driven Data? Driven Data is a data science and machine learning consultancy in the social impact space. I'm a lead data scientist there. I've been on the team for about 6.5 years. And we have the privilege of working across a lot of different subject matter domains. So just to give you a sense of what I've been working on this year, I've been doing harmful algal bloom detection in small inland water bodies. I've been helping to build an application that supports survivors of human trafficking and other forms of exploitation. And I'm also the technical lead on a lot of our conservation work, which is focused on species classification in camera trap data. So despite this varied number of domains that we get to work in, we do have some kind of organizing types of work that we do. So the first is running online machine learning competitions. We have a community of over 100,000 data scientists that have been participating in competitions that we've been running for the last 10 years. And this is a really great way to explore the problem space, especially when it's a predictive modeling problem and really getting to benefit from kind of crowdsourced approaches. All of our work that is not competition goes into our direct consulting bucket. This sort of direct client engagement really varies, right? This is going to depend on like the specific organization that we're working with. So this could be things like insights in a slide deck, or it could be, a fully fledged web application that's running trained machine learning models under the hood. And I'm going to give you an example of that today. And then lastly, we devote some of our time to developing open source projects. So if you're a data scientist, you might know of Driven Data through Cookie Cutter Data Science, which is a reasonably standardized project structure template that really helps support reproducible data science work. A lot of our open source projects have started off as like things that we built internally that were useful for our team, and then we open sourced them because they became useful more broadly. Sometimes we also use open source packages to kind of carry forward the results of machine learning competitions and make them more accessible. So in the vein of our conservation work, this work has really spanned kind of all three of these issue areas, and I'm going to give you more of a view into that. I wanted to just talk briefly about kind of why we work in the conservation space, because since we have kind of this broad mandate of working data science, machine learning, and social impact, how do we choose which areas to work in? And they're really centered around where are the places where data science and machine learning can really help organizations make better use of data and do more impactful work. And that's absolutely the space, absolutely the case in conservation. So as many of us know on the call, camera traps are widely used by researchers, conservationists, and park managers to monitor wildlife without human interference, which is great. The downside is that they generate an enormous amount of footage that needs to be reviewed and manually labeled by humans to actually go and identify the images and videos of interest. So we have this big bottleneck that makes it hard to really derive all of the value out of camera trap data. And this is where the potential of machine learning comes in, because machine learning models have shown real success in classifying species that are present in an image or a video, and this can save countless hours of human review. And this allows us to then derive more value from that data so that it's not just sitting on hard drives that people haven't gone through, but lets us now go say, okay, these are the videos and the images that we care about. Now let's go and do kind of that downstream conservation work. That's where all of the impact happens. So in this space, as I said, we've been kind of our machine learning competitions and web applications and open source tools all come into play. So we got our start in conservation work back in 2017 with one of the competitions that we ran. So this was the Primatrix factorization competition that was focused on species classification in camera trap videos. And this was run in coordination with the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology. Since then, we've run other camera trap specific competitions as well. So we had the Hakuna Matata, which is probably my favorite name of a competition that we've run, that was focused on species classification at the image burst level. And then we also ran a competition on depth estimation, so estimating how far away the animal is from the camera, which can be really helpful when combined with species classification to get to abundance estimates. So as I was saying, competitions are really great for exploring the problem space, understanding how well can machine learning do at this task, what are the promising methodologies and approaches, how accurate are they? But what comes out of competitions looks closer to research code that has been kind of run once, rather than code that is really easy to be run by lots of other people in a generalizable way. So to carry some of these approaches forward, we developed the Zomba Python package, which is based on a number of those winning approaches from competitions with additional updates and retraining. And this is really a great way to be able to train and run species classification models and depth estimation models in a kind of robust and configurable way. This works if you are familiar with the command line or you love Python, which is some people, but really not the majority of people in the conservation space. And so in that sense, the Zomba Python package is really an intermediate output to Zomba Cloud. So Zomba Cloud is a web application, so really user-friendly point-and-click interface that lets you train and run these species classification models, but without writing any code. And so under the hood, it's running Zomba, but to the user, you don't need to have any of that programming experience. So we're going to dig more into what does Zomba Cloud look like and why is it really useful here. So we're going to look at species classification on Zomba Cloud, as that's the primary focus. And then one of the most unique features in Zomba Cloud is its support for custom model training. And so I want to hit on more why this is really important and what this looks like. And lastly, I'm going to touch on video and image support. So this is what species classification looks like on Zomba Cloud. You start by uploading your videos. This is just a drag and drop. If you've got videos on an FTP server, you can also point to that and we'll pull them over. Then you select your machine learning model that you would like to run. Zomba Cloud has a number of default models that we have trained that are doing species classification on videos. So we have two different African forest models that are primarily kind of jungle species. There's 32 categories in there. We've got a European model with 11 classes, and then we also have a blank detection model, which is really important for videos. So once you've chosen your model, those model predictions are running in the cloud. You can go about your day. We'll send you an email when it's ready, and then you can log back in and actually see the predictions on Zomba Cloud. You can review those videos, watch them, and then we show you underneath the probabilities with this nice bar. So you can see what's estimated to be in the video. And then you can also start to review and say, where is this model getting tripped up? Where is it more and less reliable? Because you can do that review of the prediction side by side with the video. You can also just download those predictions, right? We're not trying to lock you in or anything crazy like that. You just download labels, you get a CSV that you can then use in Excel or other statistical software. And this makes it really easy to then go do whatever filtering or next kind of downstream task that you want to do, whether that's going and watching certain videos that are high probability of an animal, or getting rid of videos that are very likely to be blank, etc. So this is just a CSV that contains those individual species probabilities. And then we also do some kind of convenience columns that pull out the top 3 labels and probabilities to make this even easier to use. So at a high level, this is what running machine learning models in a code-free way looks like. You upload unlabeled images to Zomba Cloud, you select your pre-trained model, and then you get predictions out. But what happens if there's not a pre-trained model for your species or habitats? Right? This is a really common problem because we know that camera traps are used all over the place to do a whole lot of different things. So we know that camera traps are used across a variety of habitats. So they can be used in jungles and savannas and underwater. We know that people are studying different things. People are studying animals and insects and even weather patterns. And even where people are kind of quote unquote studying the same thing in the same place, the taxonomic rank that they care about can vary greatly. So what is an antelope to one person is a red duiker to another. So we're strong believers that there's not just like a single set of pre-trained machine learning models that are just going to work for everybody. And so we really need to think about how do we support people in training custom models that are specifically designed for their use case. We really need to talk about accessible custom model training, because while it is technically very feasible for data scientists to fine-tune models, what we really care about is bridging this gap between the technical feasibility of doing that and the practical ability for conservationists to actually use and run them. So that's why we care a lot about making it easy to train custom models in a code-free way through Zomba Cloud. So this is what that workflow looks like, again, at a high level. So if you are training a model, then you're starting with images and labels that are associated with those, and that's what you're uploading. You then click a button to kick off model training, and there's a whole bunch of things that happen on the back end that figures out how long the model should train for, and what portion of the data we're going to use to validate the model, et cetera. And so none of those decisions are ones that the user has to make. We let you know when that model is done training. We report out some metrics on that. And now that model is in your account and ready for use. So now you can go through that standard inference workflow that we were just looking at, where you upload unlabeled images, select that custom model, and get out predictions. There's also functionality on Zomba Cloud where you can choose to make a custom model that you trained available to other Zomba Cloud users. So you can choose to say, no, I just want to keep this in my account, or actually, this is a great model. Other people are going to benefit from it. And so let me share this. And so there's really that opportunity to kind of raise all boats as people are training good models based on their data. So Zomba Cloud currently supports camera trap videos, as it was developed in partnership with animal behaviorists at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology. And if you're doing animal behavior work, then videos are just a much richer signal than images, especially if you're studying things like interaction and tool use. And so that's why this initial focus was on videos. Since its inception, Zomba Cloud has processed over 900,000 videos to date. We have over 300 users on the platform, and we have 4 kind of official pre-trained models in there for videos that have been trained on over 250,000 videos. But we know that this problem isn't unique just to people who are working with camera trap videos. And so that's why I'm really excited to announce that image support is coming soon. Supporting images on Zomba Cloud is the focus of our WILDLABS award. And we're really excited about this because it makes Zomba Cloud useful to all camera trap users. And as I was saying, this need for custom model training is not specific to videos, it's specific to people who are using camera traps more broadly. We're also just really well positioned to do this work because working with videos is actually just a technically harder problem than working with images. And so the fact that we got our start doing custom model training for videos makes us really well positioned to implement this for images as well. This is the kind of state of the WildLabs project at a high level. We're writing code in that Zomba Python package to work with images, and we're collecting our data sets that we're going to use for training. The high level here is we're about 50% of the way through the project, and you should keep an eye out for image functionality on Zomba Cloud in early 2025. But you don't have to wait until early 2025. You can get involved now. So we would love if people who are working with camera trap data could fill out this survey. It's at tinyurl.com/Zomba survey. It's about 15 questions, should take you about 5 minutes. And we're interested really in 2 things here. The first is that we want to hear more about what species and habitats you're using camera traps for. So as part of the grant, we're releasing some pre-trained image models on Zomba Cloud. These are like the default image models that are available to everybody. And so we would love for these to capture common species and geographies so that they're kind of as useful out of the box as they can be. For some people, these might be sufficient and they won't even need to do custom model training because these really tackle kind of the most common use cases. As a bonus, if you have labeled data on these priority species and geographies that you would like to share with us so that we can use those in training the models to make them even better, we would love to hear from you. The second way that you can help out here is to offer to be a beta tester. So if you are somebody who has labeled image data and you're interested in custom model training, come be a beta tester. This basically looks like getting early access to this functionality, and then you get to help us find the bugs, find things that are wonky, give us some feedback so that we can really improve this experience for everybody who's coming after you. Lastly, other ways to get involved today, you can sign up at zombacloud.com and create an account. If you go to zombacloud.com, there's a little sign up box in the upper right corner. If you've got camera trap videos, then have at it right now. If you've got images, coming soon. And then lastly, if you have feedback or thoughts or want to collaborate, you can get in touch with us by sending an email to zomba@drivendata.org. So thank you all so much for your time and attention. Looking forward to chatting more with you all. And again, this is the URL for the survey. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Emily. This is just amazing work. I would think like you are developing all this great tool, like it's super important and an open source tool for the community. And I was wondering how the community could help make your work easier and improve even more this tool. And you just answered that with your survey. So I would encourage everyone working with camera traps and images to go and fill that survey. And yeah, I think like in bioacoustics, this is just, there's a strong need for these kind of tools as well that streamline data analysis and allow researchers to focus more on their science rather than on coding. So I think your project is just a perfect example of how technology can bridge these gaps and bring more people into conservation tech community. So I think, let me check the time. I think we are, maybe we can have time for just one little question, brief question. Rob, do you want to ask your question?
Great talk, Emily, and really amazing contribution. I just wondered, is there an Australian specific data set yet? Because I think I went and checked it out and I couldn't see one, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, we don't have one right now, but we do have one user who's trained their own custom model to study wombats in Australia. So some, Australian focus for the video fine tuning. But yeah, no default models yet on that.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap up here for the recording purposes, but just so everyone knows, if you want to stick around, we'll hang out for about half hour after stopping this recording for a more casual chat. And you're welcome to stay if you like to. So a huge thank you for all our 4 speakers, Aamir, Kirah, Juan, and Emily, and to the community for joining us. And also big thanks to Alex, who pulled this all together. And again, let us know if you'd like to be connected to learn more. And see you next time.